What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of JY Throws. Today I want to share with you guys 5 tips that will help you become a better all-around thrower. So I want to start out with the most important tip, and that's that you need to get out and throw a lot. Throwing's an incredibly technical sport, and it takes years to figure out the technique. So the more consistently you can train, the faster you're going to start to hit good positions, and the further you're going to throw. It's also very important because if you've already been throwing, to make technical changes is more difficult than learning them in the first place the proper way, and takes even longer. So getting out and throwing more and focusing on those positions will help you make changes towards a more efficient technique that will ultimately help you throw further. My second tip for you guys is that you want to try to understand the physics behind throwing. I had a coach explain technique to me as the length of a barrel on a gun. The idea is that the longer that you can accelerate the implement before you release it out of your hand, then the further you're going to throw, provided that the path that you keep it on is the most efficient path and you're not losing power throughout the throw from missing positions. Picture it this way. You've got a shotgun with a barrel pointed towards a sector. Now, in order to get the projectile to accelerate even faster, you need a longer barrel. But since we're only working with the human body, we add length to that barrel by spinning in a circle. But the only way you can get that projectile to accelerate in a circle is by keeping it on a precise path with minimal power leaks from inefficient technique. That brings me into my next point, which is that you should watch a lot of film of other throwers and of yourself throwing. It's proven that watching film helps train your mind for your event. So if you've got nothing to do, throw on some videos and start training your mind. And while you're doing that, I want to point out a couple positions that you should keep an eye out for that universally throwers are hitting. And if nothing else, focusing on these 3 positions will set you up to start finding the most efficient technique you can. The first position is out of the back of the circle. As they're rotating over their leg, they're letting their opposite hip come all the way around to the middle. I did a video talking about this movement. I'll put a link to that in the description below. But this is the first position that universally you see throwers hitting. The second position comes from hitting the first position, which is being tall and balanced in the middle, over top of the leg, with a nice vertical posture. And again, all throwers are hitting something that's very similar to this, and it's one of the 3 critical positions that you're going to want to find. And the final one is the finish. This is the delivery with level shoulders, hips squared up to the finish, and sending the implement in the throwing direction. If you can start to understand these 3 positions and the body mechanics required to hit them, then whatever you do in between them doesn't really matter. It's all about hitting these key positions so you're balanced with your weight centered, so that the implement can work around you on that efficient path where you're not losing power from missing positions. My fourth tip for you guys is that drills are very important. Doing drills and exaggerating the positions that you want to hit is one of the best ways that you can start to ingrain technique in your muscle memory. Drills are also very low impact, so you're not damaging your body as you're doing them, and you can get a lot more drills in a practice than you can actual full throws. So as you're learning, taking the time to do a lot of drills will help you make changes to your technique or will help you find positions in the first place. And I want to share with you guys a couple strategies and ways that you can start to think about drills so that you can get the most out of your practice. The way that I like to break up the throw is by breaking the circle into 3 different parts. You've got the back of the circle, the middle of the circle, and the front of the circle. And each one of those 3 positions that I was talking about earlier happens in one of those parts of the circle. So that's how I like to break it up. To work on the 3rd position, which is the finish, you can do stand throws and picking. Picking's a great way to get a lot of reps and really focus on that finish. While I'm doing these, I think about keeping my shoulders level and finishing the implement right down the middle of the sector. One of the most important things to note with this is that you don't want to start by ripping with your off arm. If you do, the implement gets left behind and then it's very hard to finish down the middle. So what you want to do is be patient, let the implement catch up, and then deliver it on the finish. And you can feel this a lot more in discus, but shot put's similar. It will just happen a lot faster. When doing stand throws, it's very hard to mimic the full throw movement. So it's important to not try to throw hard and just work the feeling of the finish. The second part of the throw is the middle, and a great way to work this is by doing half turns. You can do them stationary and start to feel the balance over your foot. And if you find the balance well, you should be able to stay on it and do a 360 and still end up in the same position that you started. That's showing you that you're not ripping with your arms or getting out of position with your hips. You're just feeling the rotation and balance. Another very important thing to note is the foot position. So this is what a good foot position looks like. You've got enough offset between your block foot and your rotation foot in the middle, and this allows your hips to free up so that you can hit that nice level finish, as opposed to having the feet too blocked off, and now you can't turn your hips all the way through and get them squared up. So ideally you're landing with your feet in that position with your upper body facing backwards. And from there, you're just hitting position 3, which is that finish that you were working on earlier with the stand throw. And you can see how these drills start to tie together and set you up from phase to phase. The third position is out of the back. A great way to work on the balance out of the back is by doing 360 drills. Again, you can watch the video that I posted about getting over that, and I go a bit more depth into what you want to do. But essentially, you're finding the balance over your leg, and if you keep a nice vertical posture, you can rotate all the way around and land back where you started. And this is telling you that you're in good positions and you're balanced, so that way you're able to make the transition to the next phase of the throw. The next thing I like to work on is South Africans. This is similar to the transition of half turns to your stand throw, but now it's taking your 360 and the balance position out of the back and carrying that into the middle, and then from the middle you're basically doing a half turn. So as long as you're working on good positions with nice vertical posture, landing with your feet open so you can turn your hips all the way through, and then think about delivering that ball with a nice level shoulders on the finish and your hips turned all the way through. So this is my favorite way that I personally break down the throw. And by doing these different drills, it forces you to work on one position at a time. And while exaggerating those positions, it becomes ingrained in your muscle memory and will translate a lot better into a full throw. The final thing that I want to talk about is coaching. And I know a lot of people don't have access to coaches. And if you're watching videos online and watching this, that's a great start into understanding technique. But having a coach in person to watch you and correct your positions as it's happening really helps make corrections happen faster. And in an event that takes years to master, any amount of time that you can speed up the progress is helpful. So I was lucky and able to work with a bunch of different Olympians growing up. And having a bunch of different perspectives helped me to understand the throw better, and learning different theories from different coaches, I was able to piece together all of the pieces that I found helpful and that held up over thousands of throws. So I'm not here to tell you guys positions to work on. I want you to understand the throw as well as possible so that you can make your own decisions and find what works for you. Because sometimes you'll end up with a coach that doesn't really know what they're talking about. And if you understand the physics of throwing and the positions that you're trying to hit, then it helps you kind of pick through the crap. And I'm not saying to not listen to your coach. Just know that sometimes there's coaches that will tell you positions that if you go look at world-class throwers, they're either not doing them, or when you've tested it out yourself, it won't hold up over thousands of throws. So I'm here to help accelerate the process for you guys, hopefully. And that's it for these 5 tips. So I'm going to get into my own throwing practice right now. If you guys want, feel free to watch and see some of the positions that I'm working on in practice and the ways that I make corrections. And again, watching those reps will help train your mind. All right, I'm going to go into full throws, and now it's tying all of those positions together with one fluid motion, making sure that I'm focusing on keeping my hips and shoulders level throughout the whole throw and not getting a big jump or anything like that to the middle. Just nice, efficient, smooth technique. And I'm gonna start off nice and slow, making sure that I'm feeling my positions, seeing where I'm at in the circle, and I can start to ramp up the speed from there. Really trying to find position 3. That's something I always miss. That's getting everything through, hips squared up, shoulders nice and level on the finish. All right, moving on to discus, and the timing's a bit different for a discus, but the 3 positions that you're trying to hit are essentially the same thing. Making sure you're over your leg out of the back, letting that hip come forward so that you can be nice and balanced in the middle with the disc back, good posture, and then from here, it's coming around, finding that good finish. All right, keep the disc with me so it's not getting behind. I don't have an outro. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, leave a like. If you really liked it, subscribe for more. See you in the next one. I gotta post this video. All right.